Before the video starts, make sure you guys go like and subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out, and we can keep getting cooler and cooler guests. Also, how could you say no to a three-legged dog? Dick. Virus, that's what my doctor called it. But I guess it's going around. It's kind of like an intense, I guess, head cold. Dude, I had fever, I had chills, I felt like absolute shit. And this was all on the week of my birthday. So, you know, my birthday's coming around. It was on last Friday. And my girlfriend, I felt bad. Apparently she had a big surprise for me and I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm really feeling sick. I had 101 degree fever and I'm just feeling like shit, man, right? And I know I'm not contagious. You know, I asked my doctor. I was started taking meds days before, and I was like, you know, can I go out and get dinner with my girlfriend? He's like, yeah, don't worry. You don't have COVID. You don't have strep. You don't have the flu. You're fine. You're just fucking sick, and it sucks. You got to take your stuff. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So we go to Buffalo Wild Wings. I didn't eat anything. I feel disgusting. My head hurts, and all the symptoms I just said. It just sucked, you know. And I felt bad. She paid for dinner and I couldn't eat it. I was eating the fries and I'm eating the carrots a little bit. And she's like, I'm going to have to cancel your big surprise. And I'm like, no, don't cancel it. Come on. I'm really excited about it. My birthday can't fucking suck like this. Now, if you guys don't know, my birthday to me isn't, you know, that classic where everyone's like, oh, I hate my birthday. I hate my birthday. No, my birthday has a shitty backstory to it. The last 5 or 6 years, right? My grandpa was fucking awesome. Huge part of my life, right? Like, huge part of my life. Unfortunately passed away October 5th in 2016. Now, you guys ever have a memory, right, that you just never forget? Like, ever? Like, no matter what, you will never forget it and the way it felt. And not just remember a memory, not just like, oh, yeah, I remember when that happened. But like, feel it. You remember the smells, the sounds, the voices, and all that shit, right? So, like I said, my grandpa died October 5th, 2016. I remember I had a jiu-jitsu competition October 8th, right? And his wake was October 7th. So we did the wake, blah, 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 blah. It was sad, and it fucking sucked. Competition comes. I end up getting gold in both of my events, gi and no gi. And I was a white belt, so, you know, I guess not too impressive, but, you know, I fucking did it. So, and right after that, I went to my grandma's because that's when we, you know, celebrate my birthday. We go to my parents' house and then we go to my grandparents' house. Only this time my grandpa wasn't there, obviously. So we go to my grandma's house after we celebrate at my parents' house, and I am depressed. I'm just not too into it. You know, whatever. I won. Great. Yay. I'm not. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table, right, where I always had my birthday. Like, we always had the cake there at the kitchen table. And everyone, it would be me, my parents, my sister, and my grandparents, usually there. This time it was everybody who was at the wake, at least, or most of the people who were at the wake. So my three aunts, my uncle, their kids were asleep. But I remember my grandma coming out out of nowhere as we're just sitting at the kitchen table, like kind of all gloomy, just like, fuck, this is, why are we doing this right now? Why are we forcing ourselves to do this? She comes out with the cake. And they're singing happy birthday to me. But you could tell, like, in their voices, right, that it was heavy. They didn't want to be singing happy birthday. They didn't want to be celebrating shit, man. They didn't want to be doing anything. And I just remember that so vividly. I just remember, like, damn, man, that fucking sucks. I hate this. I never want to experience this again, ever in my life. So that lingering feeling of shittiness on my birthday has been around since 2016. And I just remember that. So I had my girlfriend Steph's telling me, you know, you have a surprise coming up, but like, I don't know, I think I have to cancel it because you're sick and you feel like garbage. I'm like, don't worry about it. Just take me home right now. I'm going to chug a shit ton of water. I'm going to take a fuck ton of Advil, and I'm going to take a little capsule of Acilla, I think that's what it's called, that my doctor told me to take. Now, after I downed all of these meds that I was told to take when I felt like shit, I'm barely getting by. I'm feeling nauseous. I'm like, fuck. And on top of that, she tells me I have to wear a fucking blindfold. Great. Here we go. So I put on a blindfold, and my head was so congested that like I couldn't hear because of the congestion. But on top of that, with the pressure of the blindfold, it just got even worse. So she's telling me, she's like, all right, here we go. And then she takes me and guides me through this weird pathway onto grass. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? What is going on? I take off the blindfold. Like, how many people? Maybe 20 people there, 20 to 30 people there. All that I knew, all who were my friends and family, all screaming surprise to me. Now, I'm not big on surprise parties, right? I'm not big on them at all. But that really helped take away that feeling that I've had on my birthday for so long. That shitty, heavy feeling kind of just like went off me, right? It just went off me. You ever feel like you're walking through water, like chest high water? Every time you take a step, it's heavier. It's like that depression kind of shit. The second I went in there and everybody said that, I just looked around. It got dead silent. It was so awkward because it got dead silent, but it got dead silent. And to me, it wasn't awkward. I was just looking around like the first thing I said, that there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people here. A lot of people who care and love about me. Or care and love me. I couldn't believe it. My trainer, my trainer / I always called him my older brother, Mike, was there. And he never really comes to shit. I couldn't believe what was going on around me at all. So it just really feels good to know that you're appreciated. So if you're ever having a shitty, birthday or shitty time in your life, just know that there are people who care about you. There are people who love you. There are people who are out there who definitely have strong feelings for you. Again, thank you to Steph for setting that up, and thank you for everybody who came out. I'm sorry that I'm whispering right now. It fucking hurts to talk. Ignore the cough. But yeah, talking about my grandpa a little bit. My grandpa was awesome. He was there for me. He was at every single football game I've ever played in. From the time I was 7 years old to the time I was 18 in my last game. He was there at every single football game. The guy was a fucking dedicated person. And when he passed away, his last words to me were, you'll always have a special place in my heart. And then he told me, you got to do what you got to do. Big one. And I still kind of live by that a little bit. You got to do what you got to do. And that has been living with me for ever since he told me that. And I'm kind of correlating it now to what I'm doing in life, right? I work construction for my dad right now. Fucking sucks. He knows I hate it. But I'm doing it to be able to fund my hobbies that will eventually take over as my main income. My hobbies are writing. My hobbies are podcasting. My hobbies are posting on YouTube. None of those make money. For now, at least. None of those make any fucking money. And they never make money to start. Ever. I don't care who you are. They don't make money when you first start. And I need money. Mike told me recently, he said it's better to be miserable in a job, or it's better to be miserable and have money than to be miserable and poor. That's true. So I've been working for my dad, and it fucking sucks, but it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. And I can fund all of this. I have time to do stuff like this. I can work out still. I'm going to try to start going to jiu-jitsu more. I have all this opportunity because I'm realizing, hey, stop complaining that you have a fucking job that you don't like. Focus on making the money so you can do what you want to do. You know what I mean? You got to fucking do the things that you hate sometimes in order to do the things that you love. Because I wouldn't be able to do this if I had no money. As is, I have a house. I pay bills. I pay mortgage. I pay water. I pay gas. I not alone, obviously. I have my girlfriend, but you know what I mean? I got to pay for stuff. And at the end of the day, I need a job. And besides the bills, besides the house, I need money to buy the equipment. I need money to be able to have a computer that can edit that's strong enough. And some people say, oh, you don't need a supercomputer. You just need a laptop. No, yeah, that's true, but it's a little easier when you get better equipment. It's a little easier. And I feel, in my opinion, people respond better to better quality than people want quality and content, right? Sometimes people sacrifice the quality of this just to post more stuff. They flood the market with their shit. And I think that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Like you can, I don't know, how do I say this? If you're just putting out shit, it's not going to work. You need to put out a lot of stuff, but also maintain the quality, like the camera quality. Right now, I'm not using my studio. I'm using my old streaming setup. And this isn't even the best quality that I have available, but I think it looks all right. This is still 1080, so it's not horrible. And then I can go on my computer and I can run Adobe, and I can go on Premiere and I can edit this. Now, my editing skills may still look like dog shit, but it's because I'm learning how to do it. You know? Would I have the money to be able to afford Adobe Premiere? No, not if I didn't have this job. And it's taken me a while to realize that, okay, I fucking hate my job, right? But I need it right now. And the thing that I've been repeating to myself every day, and people have probably said this themselves. I actually think I read this somewhere. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's one of those subconscious things. It's not forever. It's for today. I don't know where I heard that, but I've been saying it a lot. And I believe maybe it was David Goggins. I don't really know. Maybe. I'm not too sure. But that's something I've been telling myself every day when I wake up and I just don't want to go to work. It's like, okay, it's just for today. Ignore my hair. My hair looks like shit. But yeah, that's definitely been a big part of my life right now. Another thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit was great people. I don't know why I started thinking about this. Again, I'm using this part of the show to just talk about me a little bit. You know, you guys get to know me a little bit. You always hear the interviews and you hear more of the people talking as opposed to my point of view, which I'm trying to do better at. You know, you don't always want to just have the person run the podcast. Of course, you want to hear the guest and you want to hear them out and you want to hear their stories, but you also want to hear, a little bit from me. I don't want you guys to just come here for the guests. I want you guys to come here for me too. I mean, I have some pretty interesting opinions and ideas. If I say so myself. But things to work on, things to note, things to get better at. And as this is only my maybe 20th recording I've put online, seriously. And I think that I'm doing great for what I've put out. I went from doing 2 podcasts a week to 1. Why? 1, it's hard as shit to get guests, especially when you're small. 2, I think it produces better quality. Now, should I be doing more? Yes, I should be putting out more clips. My problem with that is I have to get better at deciding what's a clip and what's not. Again, I'm doing all of this by myself. If you guys remember, if you guys have been here for a while, I used to have somebody named George on the show, and he would help me out. Unfortunately, let me rephrase that. Not unfortunately. George got a fucking big boy job. George had to go to do a big boy job. He couldn't keep coming from Philly to Jersey to do this little fucking show. It's not at that point yet where I could pay George. So honestly, more power to him. I'm happy as hell that he found a job and he's liking what he's doing. So happy for him. But I'm doing this. I'm a one-man show, and I'm not complaining about it, but I'm trying to learn how to do things better with clips, because not everybody wants to have a clip that lasts for 20 minutes. A clip should be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like something that you see from the Pat McAfee show, something like that. But I'm getting better at that, I'm getting better at speaking. I'm getting better at a whole bunch of stuff, but it's all a part of the process. And I'm happy that you guys are seeing that. I'm happy that the numbers from the show are increasing, because it's telling me that you guys are appreciating and liking the content. One thing that I will say is that I would love for you guys to start subscribing more and not just watching the shows. Subscribing helps me out a lot more, because then other guests can see, hey, this guy has this many subscribers. This is worthwhile coming on his show. You know what I mean? I'm emailing everybody. Now, I'm emailing people that no matter what the number is, unless you're in the tens of millions, they don't give a fuck. I'm just kind of shooting my shot. Some of them are Clint Eastwood, Jack Nicholson. Unfortunately, I know Jack Nicholson won't. Clint Eastwood probably won't either. Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe I just sent one to Bert Kreischer. Bert Kreischer, I would love to have on. He is hysterical. I've been to his comedy show in the Stress Factory in Jersey. Bro, so funny. The guy is awesome. And I know he can talk, and I know he's a good storyteller. Everybody's heard him on Joe Rogan's podcast. And if you haven't, I don't know what to fucking tell you. The guy's a legend. But yeah, I'm trying to get these guys on. I want to get cool guests. I want to have to talk to cool people. And I was recently watching a video on YouTube, right? It was talking about podcasting and how to grow your podcast. And one of the things it said is, what's your niche? What's your podcast about? What are you talking about? Are you talking about sports? Are you talking about movies? Are you talking about current events? Excuse me. And I'm like, none of the above for me. But then I realized my podcast is talking to people about what they're best at and their life experiences. To me, that's its own category. How could it not be its own category? You're talking about your life experiences and what you're great at. Talking about Bert Kreischer, right? Say I have an interview with him. I don't even call it an interview in the email anymore. I say a podcast episode. There's a bug in my fucking thing. It's not even an email or an interview anymore to me. It's a show. It's an episode. I want you to come on. I want you to tell me about your comedy. I want you to tell me about your life. I want you to tell me about, some cool stories that you've had. Stuff like that. To me, that's my thing. That's something that I want. People already have that as a thing, yeah. But I want that to be my thing too. Like, you're talking to me. You're having a one-on-one conversation with me. I want it to be like two friends just talking. Two friends just talking, who haven't seen each other in 5 years, and they're catching up and they're hearing some funny stories and, hey, what are you doing for work? Tell me about it. How you doing, man? All that stuff. So that's my niche, that's my thing. That's what this podcast is. And I think that it's growing better in that aspect. My niche is starting to shine through a lot more as opposed to when I first started this. You could look back on my first episode that I had in May with Carlos, Rob, and my sister Emma. Great episode, funny as shit. And that honestly was like the kickoff to what my show was. Just a bunch of friends talking about some shit. Now, did we talk about Marvel mostly? Yeah, we talked about Marvel. That's how I wanted the show to be. I wanted to talk about one subject and blah, 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 blah. That's not how it should have been. I want to get those guys back and we should just shoot the shit and talk about anything we want to talk about. That's this podcast, man. Just having a good time and good conversations with good people. Again, I'm sorry that I'm whispering. I feel like I'm yell whispering, but it hurts like hell to talk. Every time I talk at a certain level, I start coughing. But yeah, that's what this podcast is about. This podcast is about good times. This podcast is about having great conversations with the best people possible. And I think I've accomplished that slowly, and it's getting better and it's becoming more apparent that that's what this show's about. So at least I can see growth. Anytime I post a video, I'm seeing growth. The numbers may not always be there, but the engagements, the comments, the likes, I got my first dislike. How cool is that? My first fucking dislike. I told somebody this recently and they're like, whoa, why are you so excited you got dislike? Dude, somebody cared enough about my show to go and hit a thumbs down button. That's cooler than getting a thumbs up button in my opinion, because somebody got so emotional over my shit that they pressed down. It's like when people take time out of their day to write a hate comment. It's like, why? Like, what did you accomplish with yourself in that moment? But I don't blame him. That's his opinion that he doesn't like the video. But that to me is, okay, new engagement. I got somebody who didn't like the show to watch the show. You know what I mean? Not just people that I know. This is somebody who probably didn't know my show, watched the episode, and didn't like it. You watched it. Somebody new watched it and didn't like it. Great, that's fine. But it shows me people are watching. So that's pretty fucking cool in my eyes. Last thing I want to talk about is great people. The great person that I was thinking about today a lot was Robin Williams. If you guys watched my interview with Tommy Chong, he talked about Robin Williams, right? And he talked about how Robin was sued by somebody for borrowing or stealing some of his act or something along those lines. I'm not too sure. I have to go back and rewatch what he said, but it's something along those lines. Robin Williams to me was my idol as a kid. But he was like my famous person idol. I know a lot of people say that he was theirs, blah, 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 blah. That's true. Yeah, that's fine. That's awesome. To me, he was that too. He was what I, wanted to be. I wanted to be the fun-loving guy. And unfortunately, my anxiety and depression kind of made me the opposite. I was very to myself. I expressed my ways, not very to myself. I expressed myself in ways that were negative. Like I was too energetic. I was overbearing. I was overwhelming to people. And I was always looking at Robin Williams. I'm like, how does he do it? How does he manage to be that kind of person still, but people respond positively? And I've learned a lot from his movies or how he's portrayed in movies. And that's how I want this to be kind of. I want to reach people in a way that it makes them think, not emotionally, but feel emotion. I write, right? I write a lot. And I want to write a book, and I'm in the middle of writing a book, and I want the book to be as emotional as Robin Williams was in one of my favorite movies of his was, God, I can't think of it. I gotta look it up. Oh, Dead Poets Society. That movie, when I watched it in school, like broke me. That movie broke me. And I was thinking, I'm like, that's the emotion. That's the kind of emotion I want to hit with people. I want people to be so impacted by it that they just feel something. I don't care if it's happiness, sadness, just something strong, you know? And I see a lot of my inspiration come from his acting and how he was on stage and comedy and stuff like that. So I recently saw something, I forgot what actor it was. They're making a movie, I guess, about him called Robin, and it looks fantastic. I would love to reach out to the actor who's playing him and, you know, get some insight on his process of becoming Robin Williams. So maybe I'll send out another email. I've sent out like 3,000 already, but, you know, maybe he'll be the one to respond. But other than that, we're at 20 minutes, which isn't bad for a mini episode. This isn't that bad. So guys, remember to fucking subscribe, like the video, dislike the video. I don't care. Just react, comment, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next episode of the Manic Mind Podcast. See ya.